Marty Friedman rejoined Megadeth on stage February 27th after 23 years and played 3 songs. Count Into Extinction, of course Tornado of Souls, and Symphony. And so I thought I would talk a little bit about what the band meant to me growing up. The generation before us would say Led Zeppelin or Kiss, these are the bands that got me into playing. Well, for me, it started with Metallica, and it was 89, so I would have been 10. So I'm at that age where kids started getting into music. And I'm going to go into my cousin and how that led me to get back into music after taking a long break. 2007, he passed away and it got me back into this stuff. Back then I was into skateboarding, and you could find all these band logos in Thrasher magazine, and Metallica was in it. They're not on the radio. There was not videos yet, so it's very hard to find these things. Very difficult to just kind of get exposure to this. So we would look through the magazine, look at the shirts, figure out what the logos were. You would see AC/DC, Metallica, Megadeth. So I saw the one video finally on Headbangers Ball, which was very important for me too growing up. Without that show, I don't know if I would have been exposed to some of these bands, at least not at the right time. Totally different conversation to be having, but do you like a band because you're that age, you get into them, no matter what they do, you just can't find yourself back there? That would happen to Weezer. Regardless, I was into drums. So long story short, Lars got me into drumming. We didn't know anything about any kind of time fixing. We just knew about what was on the records, and what was on Injustice for All was serious drumming. Later I would pick guitar up for just a few years, and that's important because when I started playing more guitar, it was about 93, so I would have been 14. It was a little before that because I know Nirvana Nevermind was out. I'm going to do another video on that because it's not like people say where the band dropped Nevermind and the first single Smells Like Teen Spirit and music's changed forever. It took years to actually happen. I have a hot Kurt Cobain take that I'll drop at the same time, but that's not what we're doing here. Here is Megadeth time. So this is the Rust in Peace lineup I discover, and Countdown is out, and of course I get that, and it's great, but I get to the Holy Wars video plays on the ball, and I was just blown away. That song starts and it never lets up. You're getting waterboarded by music. I don't mean a lot of notes. It's not about that. It's not about a lot of notes. It's like you get hit with a garden hose of riffs and good solos. And that record was just, to me, I would explain to people, like, this is a really good thrash record, but this is an excellent guitar songwriting record, and the solos. Marty has this nice style that mixes in a lot of Django Reinhardt type stuff, and a lot of, getting into like, we're gonna highlight power chords with our solos, so let's just highlight the ninth or something. Just really exotic creative stuff. And you're immediately, when you discover that record, and especially if you're a guitar player, you're just blown away. It's an artifact. It's a thing of legend. It's going to be historic. I have a lot to say about this time period because it was so much going on musically, But then there was the dark years where Megadeth stopped becoming a band. Because somebody's going to say, well, what about the 80s? When it was Gar and Chris Poland and some of the other stuff. But I think by the time the Rust in Peace lineup was out in Golden, it was a situation where, I think a lot of the 80s fans were okay with it. But I think if you keep changing lineups too much, people lose connections with the band. It's like some people like Marty, some people like Nick. If the band's Dave Mustaine and an assortment of great session players, you're going to have great music, but you're not going to have fans connect in the same way. And I do think that's where Metallica won, there is the bass player. They had Cliff pass from an accident, and then Newsted left. But Rob's been in the band for 20 years? He's been, I think, in the band the longest. But Lars fans still have Lars. Kirk fans have Kirk. Hetfield fans have Papa Het. There's all kinds of access and on-roads. Access roads, demilitarized zone, triads, scales. But I think the lineup's important, and the lineup disintegrated with, I think Nick had left, and then Marty left. We all know these stories. And then Ellison's been in and out here and there. So there was this period where it was Megadeth, is what people said, and there was great musicians playing with them. But I know, me as a fan, I did not feel connected anymore. was just severed, done. So I checked some of the stuff out, but I never really was connected, and I fell out. I didn't listen to those records. Past Cryptic Writing, I didn't listen. I wasn't offended by Risk. I wasn't bothered with that. It was just I lost connection because of the lineup. It wasn't Risk. It was, you could see it falling apart. And it did fall apart for a little bit. Dave had an injury, and believe the band went on hiatus for a bit. Fast forward now, and I got back into guitar playing in 2020, not COVID related. Again, it's this cousin connection. But I thought, I'm going to play some Megadeth tunes. And I started looking into, noticed Kiko's channel, YouTube was pushing me Kiko and Dirk, and I'm like, who are these people? And then I check it out, and it's like, whoa, these guys, tons of personality. Of course they can play, but it felt more like these are band members. So now here it is. It's 2023. 23 years since Marty's been in the band. I wish Nick could rejoin. He unfortunately did pass away on my birthday. Forgot what year, I'm sorry. I did not I wanted to speak just off the cuff on this because, Megadeth was my band in the 90s. I may have not done a good job explaining that in the beginning, but when I discovered, them, it was off to the races. It was a moment. It was my Kiss moment, my Zeppelin moment, Black Sabbath, whatever. And I have to say, I'm blown away to see, to make the thumbnail, I didn't use the stage footage. I'm not going to show any of the footage because I'm in Kiko Loureiro's mentorship, so there's a good chance he's going to see this, and I'm not going to put, paid footage. I did buy a ticket to the stream, and there's plenty on YouTube to look at, and it's just to see it was just an amazing time. Most of us never thought it was going to happen because, I'll take that back. We thought it might because there is a situation where they were meant to play Budokan years ago when Marty was in the band. Dave was having some issues and had to pull out, and that really hurt Marty because Marty's, even then was a big fan of the culture in the area, and he married into it. I mean, there's no doubt that he's very passionate about Japan. He's very passionate about Captain Crunch and of course music. But it was amazing to hear Countdown to Extinction played, and it was amazing to see him rip into the Tornado solo and all the other band members fall back and just give the whole stage to him. And Marty's jumping around, he's smiling, let's be real, he looks like he's the youngest guy in the band. Fountain of Youth must be in Japan or in that serial, one of the two. But I just wanted to say, this is history for us that have been fans since the era. It's history for people that haven't. If you go to the Megadeth Reddit, which apparently is right back here by my cheap Donner drum kit, they did a poll on age, and I was very curious about this. They're the same age I was when I got into it. So this is multi-generational. A lot of us thought maybe, it would be like these people were into the 90s thrash because they're Gen X, and then these people are into there, and, whatever. And I did get to see the Rust in Peace lineup. I think it was 1994. They brought Korn with them. I don't know if Korn's this. They brought Korn on the road with them, and nobody knew who Korn was yet, so nobody could hate them yet. We all kind of liked it. It was different. It was tuned really low. The drummer had this trigger pad, and me and my drummer friend that went to see the show were just blown away that he was getting these, 808 going on. In retrospect, it's silly, but you just didn't see a lot of that back then. It was like drummers would rarely in metal mix in triggers. We didn't know at the time it was all triggered, but for us it was like acoustic drums, but we didn't trigger pads. That was for Danny Carey and people like that. So if you can check the stream out, it restreams for 2 days, so you have not long, to be honest. They would be making a big mistake not releasing this as a DVD or something. It was an epic thrash metal moment. There's not much more to say about it. It was just what a thing to be seeing. After all the trouble, the failed reunion, you can get any of these guys' books, go into this, all the stuff that have happened, to finally have this. I really think maybe try to get another, I don't know about a big four. I'd like to see, first of all, if Slayer's retired, let him be retired. So you don't have to bring Slayer out if you don't want to, but I'd like to see Anthrax. We might as well bring the Pantera tribute because you already got Charlie. Megadeth. Metallica, Testament, Exodus, maybe Dark Angel, some of these other bands that were in this thrash scene. Do a few festival shows, or not really a festival, but make it an event. Make it an event. I really think that would be a good bookshelf, to this. Just capstone it